No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Hey, Corepunk developers have shared more details about their first major update since early access began. Yes, they postponed it again, now targeting late March or early mid-April. They initially planned to release it during early access, then mentioned January or February, and now we are looking at an even later date. The developers acknowledge their issue with meeting deadlines and overestimating their capabilities. Personally, I am not bothered by this, since I maintain realistic expectations about the content's quality and quantity, understanding the challenges of developing a first major game, not having 5,000 developers in the team. But that's all just talk. In reality, they are actually working on several significant features simultaneously while providing bug fixes and mechanical changes like talent upgrades, which partially can explain the delays. I'm here today to share new details about the upcoming content, and trust me, there is plenty to cover. But let's start with the recent update and an important change to weaponry chips. If you are interested in specific sections or new content, chapter timestamps are available. That was my 30-second introduction, which, as you can see, I failed to provide. Let's dive in. A recent update has reworked the stats for additional weapon chips. Instead of providing percentage-based improvements to stats, they now provide points, similar to how secondary stats work in artifacts. You can see these changes on screen. It seems like they decided not to overcomplicate stats calculation and choose to combine weaponry stats calculation with mechanics that already exist in the game. It would be perfect if they will change the calculations of secondary stats as a whole. For example, 40 points might give different percentage boosts depending on the stat type. I demonstrated this in my video about stats. My suggestion is to implement specific power ranges for each secondary stat. For instance, setting tenacity's cap at 80, while crit chance caps at 40. While this might sound complicated, it would actually allow for more consistent calculations across all secondary stats, potentially improving the overall player experience. But that's just my take on it. If you have thoughts about this, please share them in the comments. I'd love to hear your perspective. The recent update also added passive talent power scaling based on heal and shield power stat, along with the usual bug fixes. If you're interested in these technical details, you can find the full patch notes in the launcher or on the Corepunk Discord page. Now let's dive into the details of the new content. I'll start by covering 3 hero power systems and their specific updates: the Rune System, Weaponry and Alchemy. Since the Rune System is likely to be implemented first, let's begin there. The developers are introducing 30 new runes, including 6 passive and 24 active ones. Each active rune is tied to a specific talent branch and requires certain stat levels to use its basic, enhanced and overclocked versions. While they initially planned to make advanced versions require 2 talent branches, they are starting with a simpler system to test things out first. An interesting part about these runes is that each active one has 3 versions: basic, enhanced and overclocked. This means we are getting 72 new mechanics to play with. You can mix and match this with your existing abilities to create some really unique combinations. This opens up tons of possibilities for build crafting. You can create completely new playstyles just using runes, or combine them with your passive talents and weapon abilities for even more interesting builds. Every class will be able to use these runes in different ways, which adds another layer of customization to your character. Now, here is something important about how runes work. Most don't use mana, but instead consume specific items. For instance, if you want to use the Shuriken rune, you'll need actual shurikens, which you can get from imps and craft. The Tree of Plenty rune needs special magical seeds from leaf beetles. Don't worry though, all these materials can be traded between players. You can equip up to 6 runes at once, 1 per artifact. and to keep things balanced, if you are using identical artifacts, the rune will only work on the first one you equipped. The 24 active runes are divided among 8 talent branches, with 3 active runes per branch. The developers have also added an updated UI with 2 display mods to improve the player experience. While I've shown you some of these new runes, you can find detailed information about all 30 runes in the article. Link in the description. Moving on to the second hero power system, weaponry. Weaponry will soon receive its long-awaited Tier 3 gear. Additionally, the weapon system will work similar to how artifacts enhance passive talents, making it familiar for players. When you upgrade weapons, you'll get 1 enhanced weapon specialization talent, and overclocking them gives you 2. These talents stack up to level 3, and they can completely transform how you play your character. You might use them to support your main build, or even build your entire character strategy around them. Weapon mastery talent improvements will function the same way as passive talent upgrades in artifacts, using mechanics like the talent fragmenter, talent merger, and mendomatic. What I'm really excited about is the new weapon talent progression system. Instead of just moving from left to right in the talent tree, you can now go in any direction, up, down, diagonal, even backwards. This opens up so many possibilities for creating unique builds in the weapon mastery talent system. You can see what the beautiful Tier 3 weaponry looks like in the link provided in the description, just like the runes information. Last but not least, Alchemy. The developers are introducing enhanced or catalyzed versions of all Tier 3 Alchemy items. What makes this special is that they come with proc effects, basically random bonuses that can trigger while you're playing. These effects are unique to each type of enhanced alchemy, adding an interesting layer of gameplay, where you'll need to adapt your strategy based on which procs you get. This is really clever way to make high tier alchemy more engaging and valuable for players. Instead of just being straight stat improvements, these new effects can significantly impact how you play your character. And the best part, the developers have mentioned that this is just the beginning of their plans for the Alchemy system. More Tier 3 Alchemy examples are in the article. Let's talk about the new hero class, the Defender. This is one of 3 champions specializations. The developers seem pretty happy with how the class plays right now, so they are keeping most of its core mechanics intact with just some minor adjustments. What's really interesting though is how the new weapon mastery talents system will affect the Defender's gameplay. These talents will give players a lot more flexibility in how they build their character. You can go for traditional tank route, build a bruiser that balances defense and offense, or even create a high damage melee fighter if that's more your style. The possibilities for customization are quite impressive. The article also includes complete descriptions of all mastery tree talents. Finally, let's explore the PvE/PvP extraction dungeon. Prison Island is a high-stakes extraction dungeon, where every decision matters. If you die, you lose everything you brought with you. Here's how it works. You and other players start at random locations on the island. You are free to leave whenever you want through one of 6 different exits. 3 are always there, while the other 3 might or might not appear. But here is the catch, you only have 45 minutes before everything goes dark, and if you are still there, you lose all your gear. What makes this dungeon really interesting is that it has 8 different bosses, though only 3 will be active in each run. Each boss drops unique loot that you can't get anywhere else, and some of them will actually hunt you down. If you are lucky, you might also find special NPC merchants selling rare items. Now let's talk about the awesome loot you can get there. Tier 3 artifacts with triple stats, following the same mechanics as Tier 2 artifacts with double stats. Players frequently requested this feature on Discord, so I'm happy the developers listened. These artifacts may become extremely valuable, since it's easier to roll a single stat artifact for better main stat power, than one with 3 stats. Quality-specific recipes will be introduced to the game. As I mentioned in the previous video, these recipes will let you instantly craft items of uncommon, rare or epic quality. Alongside the opportunity to craft rare items, Tier 3 upgrade kits will be introduced, allowing players to obtain high quality items with just few clicks. Yet, these kits will only be available in NPC shops for now, with a very low chance of appearing in merchants' inventories. My main concern here is that we might face the same situation we had before upgrade kits were removed from the game. Previously, players exploited this system by using alternate characters and different layers, since NPCs display unique items to each character and player. I hope this issue doesn't resurface. Trade restriction unlock items will be introduced to the game. These consumables will be extremely rare, making their discovery a truly special moment for any player. Skin upgrade kits are returning, similar to how upgrade kits did. I'm curious whether they've addressed the issue where you can't unequip the skin to upgrade it, and then re-equip it. Additionally, skin color kits will be added to the in-game shop along with the new shop currency. While developers previously mentioned that players would be able to earn this shop currency through gameplay, no further details have been provided on this topic. On top of all that, Prison Island is where you can find Tier 3 weapons and their crafting recipes. These are top tier items featuring fully upgraded chip slots, truly the most powerful gear available. Almost half of the article is dedicated to the lore, details about the island itself, its bosses and NPCs. For those interested, you can find this information in the link in the description. And that's the main information I wanted to share with you. The developers have hinted at much more content to come, but there is no point speculating, while we are still waiting for the first major update since early access. As mentioned before, I suggest keeping your expectation modest regarding the quality and quantity of upcoming Corepunk content. This way, you won't feel disappointed if there are delays or bugs with the new features. We all love this game, absolutely. But if you are getting frustrated waiting for new content, it's perfectly fine to take a break and play something else. When the content drops, jump back in and let's explore together. I find it curious when players ask in Discord about guild content, tier 4 gear or other features that seems years away. Sure, you might say, we are just hoping for the best, you can't take it from us. And yes, I agree with that sentiment. Hope is all we have right now. These are just my thoughts, of course. I'd love to hear your perspective in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.